I don't know what we did to deserve back-to-back cards at the Apex, but here we are. Had some good wins last week. Let's do it again this week. First fight of the night, we got Darren Elkins taking on Daniel Pineda. So the damage, Darren Elkins is 28 and 11. That is 18 and 10 in the UFC. Pineda is 28 and 16 with 3 no contests. This is his second stint in the UFC. He went 3 and 4 from 2012 to 2014. Got cut, came back in 2020, has gone 2 and 3 with 1 no contest. So overall, he is 5 and 7 with 1 no contest in the UFC. Elkins has won 3 of his last 5, with 2 of those wins coming by finish. Pineda's only won 1 fight in his last 5 fights. Elkins, 40 years old, but Pineda not far behind, 39 years old. I'm going to take the over 1.5 here. It's minus 135. Going to parlay it. I'll get to that later. Elkins has hit it in 9 of his last 10 fights, and 22 of his 28 UFC fights have hit it. Pineda's hit it in 7 of his 13 UFC fights, including 3 straight fights. So I like that a lot. If you guys are looking for anything else to take, how about Pineda by finish, plus 140? All 28 of his pro wins have come by finish. Wild. Elkins has been finished 5 times before, too, so there's clearly a path. If you think the damage is going to get it done, take Elkins' money line, plus 105. He's got more than twice the amount of UFC fights, and he's fought former champions before. I just think if Pineda doesn't get the finish early, Elkins can rally back late. There's definitely a path there. And last but not least, fight NKO. It's plus 115. Combined, they have 18 knockout wins on their record, and Elkins has been knocked out 4 times. Pineda's been knocked out 3 times, so could definitely happen. Up next, we got Brady Hiestand taking on Jake Hadley. So Brady's 8 and 2. That is 3 and 1 in the UFC. Hadley is 11 and 3. That is 3 and 3 in the UFC. Hiestand has won 4 of his last 5. The lone loss in that span was a split decision loss. So Hadley won 3 of his last 5, with the last 3 fights going the distance. Hiestand only 25 years old. Hadley still only 28 years old. I'm taking Brady Hiestand here, minus 145. I'm going to parlay it with that over 1.5 in Elkins Pineda. It gets us plus 194. I like that a lot. I was really impressed with Brady in his last fight against Garrett Armfield. I feel like he's more well-rounded than Hadley. The wrestling might cancel out, could stay standing. Hadley's 3 wins in the UFC came to 2 guys no longer on the roster, and that third win came to a guy who's 1 and 2 in the UFC. So hasn't really beaten anyone impressive like Hiestand has. If you're looking for anything else to take, how about Brady by decision? It's plus 105. Only 2 of his 8 career wins have come by decision, but Hadley, he's never been finished before. So if you don't think he's going to get finished again, I would take that. And as a parlay piece, the over 2.5, it's minus 205, pretty hefty price. But Brady's hit it in 3 of his 4 UFC fights, and the lone outlier in that span made it to round 3, so he's pretty close to hitting it in all 4. Hadley's hit it in 4 of his 6 UFC fights, including 3 straight fights. Up next, we got Charles Energy Johnson taking on Sumudaerji. So Johnson, he's 16 and 6. That is 5 and 4 in the UFC. Sumudaerji is also 16 and 6. That is 3 and 3 in the UFC. Johnson's won 3 of his last 5, including 3 straight fights. Sumudaerji's also won 3 of his last 5, but was finished in 2 straight fights. Johnson is 33 years old. Sumudaerji still just 28 years old. I'm riding with Energy here, man. I'm taking Charles Johnson money line. It's minus 210. I'm going to parlay it. I'll get to that later. He's won 3 straight fights, including a big upset over Joshua Van in his last fight. Sumudaerji hasn't won a fight in almost 4 years, and 5 of his 6 UFC opponents are no longer on the UFC roster. So not the greatest resume there. If you guys are looking for anything else to take, how about this one? Charles Johnson by sub, plus 340. I know it sounds far-fetched. Only 3 of his 16 wins have come by sub, but all 6 of Sumudaerji's career losses have come by sub, including 2 straight fights. Charles Johnson could easily sub him here, plus 340. Another prop I like, fight NKO, plus 330. 7 of Johnson's 16 career wins have come by KO, including his last win, and 13 of Sumudaerji's 16 pro wins have come by KO. So both of them could get it done there. You cover both ends, plus 330. Otherwise, Charles Johnson by decision, I think most likely prop plus 130. 3 of his 5 UFC wins have come by decision. And Sumudaerji's never lost by decision, but has gone the distance twice in the UFC. So it's definitely a path there. Co-main event, we got Rob Font taking on Kyler Phillips. So Font, he's 20-8, 10-7 in the UFC. Phillips is 12-2. That is 6-1 in the UFC. Font has lost 4 of his last 5. I know that sounds rough, but they all came to former champions or title challengers. So he's losing to the cream of the crop here. Top 5 guys. Phillips has won 4 of his last 5, with 4 of those going the distance. Font getting up there, 37 years old. Kyler still just 29 years old. I'm doing it. I'm taking a flyer here. Rob Font plus 360. These odds just seem too disrespectful. I got to take a shot on him. He's fought way better competition, and he fought 3 times in 2023. Kyler's only fought 3 times in the last 3 years, so Font way more active. He's taken the entire year off, ready to make one last run. Let's go, Rob Font. Let's get it done. If you guys are looking for anything else to take, most likely outcome, I think, is probably this. Phillips by decision, minus 140. Obviously, got to parlay it. But, 5 of his 12 career wins have come by decision, including his last 2 wins. And 7 of Font's 8 career losses have come by decision. So, probably happens. Another prop I like, in case Font gets it done, the over 2.5. It's minus 205. You also got to parlay it. Font's hit it in 5 of his last 6 fights, and Kyler's hit it in 4 of his last 5 fights. So they usually go long. And last but not least, the prop I like, fight does not go the distance. Okay, it's plus 160. 13 of Font's 20 pro wins have ended inside the distance, and 7 of Kyler's 12 pro wins have ended inside the distance. That is 63% combined of their wins do not go the distance. So if you're looking for plus money on it, that's probably your best bet. Otherwise, let's ride with Rob Font, baby. It'll be fun. Main event, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez taking on Michel Pereira. Fluffy, he's 12-2 with 1 no contest. That is 6-2 in the UFC. Pineda is 31-11 with 2 no contests. There's multiple guys on this card with multiple no contests between Pineda and Pineda. All right. 31-11 with 2 no contests. That is 9-2 in the UFC. Hernandez has won 5 straight fights, 4 of those coming by finish. Pineda has won 8 straight fights with 3 first-round finishes in a row. He has looked crazy lately. These guys are like 2 weeks apart in age, which is kind of wild. Hernandez's birthday is this Friday, so he will be 31 come fight night on Saturday. And Pineda just turned 31 like a week ago. So they're literally like 2 weeks apart. I'm going to take the over 1.5 here. It's minus 150. I'm parlaying it with Charles Energy Johnson, plus 146 total. Hernandez has hit it in 4 straight fights, and Pineda has hit it in 7 of his 11 UFC fights. This one probably doesn't go long. In fact, I think it ends pretty early, but I like it to at least go late in round 2. If you guys are looking for anything else to take, how about Michel Pereira as a dog? Plus 120. This fight feels like a toss-up. Pineda has looked crazy recently. I just mentioned that. His last 3 fights combined lasted under 3 minutes. And 20 of his 31 pro wins have come by finish, and Hernandez has been finished before twice. How about the other side? Hernandez by finish. I mentioned it's not going to go long. Plus 105. 10 of his 12 pro wins have come by finish, and Pineda has been finished twice before as well. And we really don't know how his cardio is going to look in a 5-round fight. So this could be a train wreck for Michel Pereira if it goes long. And speaking of it going long, I don't love this, but the over 2.5 is plus 125. If you're feeling risky, Hernandez has only hit it once in 8 UFC fights, and Pineda's only hit it in 7 of his 11 UFC fights. Not bad, but it's only 42% combined.
I'm worth 100,000 like Woodrow. When a ball call me Wilson, going overboard at the Hilton.